All right. Here we are again. I've got a lawn tractor to look at. The guy gave me a call and he knew that was something wrong with one of the rods, and he was saying it had slipped down into the motor, into the the oil pan, the sump case. I was like, well, bring it over. I'll have to yank the engine and make sure nothing else is damaged. Replace the gasket and possibly a new rod. And anything else that it went wrong in there, I just won't know until I crack it open, right? So you can see I took the valve cover off, and you can see this is a John Deere LA125, has 21 horsepower, single piston, and you can see I took the cover off, and sure enough it was just dangling here. But was interesting, I shine a flashlight in there and I saw part of the rod, and my little spring grabber thingy, I was able to yank this part of it out, but you can see how part of it was just really chewed up. So I was looking even further in there, and it's really hard to see in there, but I could see another part of this rod floating around there at the bottom. And I just went and got my glasses and all that good stuff, and I'm going to see if I can fish that thing out. And if all parts are accounted for, then maybe I won't have to take the engine off and crack it open. But we'll see. So it's kind of hard to see in there. Yeah, I think I still see part of it in there. I've used these before, sometimes these little claw things. Sometimes this one is actually too big. But in this case I was still able to grab this huge rod there and yank it out. And let me position this light where I can... Okay, I can see part of the way in there. It's hard to see with so many shadows, and sometimes my hand gets in the way of the light. Okay, I can definitely see it now. Just I'm having a hard time. Well, I think I could go ahead. I'm going to try here for a couple more minutes. If not, then I'm going to go ahead and take these valves off, and this plate will come with it. I should be able to get to it pretty easy. Hopefully you can see all this. It's all the sunlight's giving different shades. So yeah, see what I'm about to do. I'm just going to go ahead and take these the valves off, and with that, this plate will come off, and I should be able to reach that other end of the rod pretty easy. Put it all back together, make sure they're torqued down pretty good, and then we can readjust the valves. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing. track of which one went where. Alright, let's take these off. If this didn't work, I mean, I'd have to take, you know, the whole head off and shake it out of there. And I don't really want to do that if I don't have to. There we go. Everything looks good. I'm trying to inspect everything as I go. These little plastic keepers are not damaged. The only thing I do notice, like it always has that little cap on this one. A lot of times I see the cap on both of them. This one does not have the cap. So I don't know if that, oh, there it is right there, right in front of my face. So there's the cap. That should go on there. And I'll just keep my eye on it, make sure they don't fall off on me. And alright, there's the other part of the rod. Let me see if I can grab it now. There she blows. Yep, so that was you can see it did bend and then it just snapped. So the rod was just bending and it just snapped in half. But at least nothing dropped down into the crankcase, right? I just wanted to make sure there was no, these pieces didn't come off, the end pieces. I've seen that sometimes where they came off. I've seen where these little caps have come off, you know, and dropped down in there. But that's good. So I'm just going to get the model number off the top of the valve cover there and order a new rod. Now this one, let's see which one it was. This one, wasn't it? So yeah, okay, that's right. So this is the exhaust side, and you can see the way that the intake comes in and it's slanting down. So this bottom was the intake. The exhaust is usually steel and the intake valve is aluminum. So I just need to get one of these. I'll scrape this clean, put a new gasket on there for them, and then we'll see how she cranks. So I'm going to go ahead and put some of this back together while I wait for this rod to get here. I'll have to order it. But before I put these back on, of course, I'm going to put a little blue Loctite on them. So let's see, went up this way. the steel rod is still good. Not a scratch on it. I might as well insert this one. There it is. Oops. So I'm just going to snug this down. We're going to have to adjust them anyway. I'll just snug it down just so the little cap won't come off. I'll be back when this rod comes in. Alright, so it's been a couple of days. It actually got here overnight, but I got the gasket for the valve cover. So it looks like they just put a bunch of, I'm going to scrape all the old stuff off, silicone, put them a new gasket on there, and there is the new rod. So I'd already torqued these down. I blue Loctited them. Oh, there went some of my tools. So I put these in place, but of course, you know, check your valves, make sure nothing's sticking. You know, because I'm wondering, well, how the hell did it jump off track here and, you know, bent and broke? I mean, it is a pretty thick rod. Well, a large diameter rod. It's kind of a thin wall, but it just broke right away. You know, looks like it tried to bend. So I'm just going to put this all back together and readjust the valves and make sure everything's moving smooth. Because what I'm thinking, if this had loosened up so that while this is in here, it was really loose, and then with the vibration going on, so if it was really loose on here and then the vibration knocked off the little cap here so that this thing was just really flopping around, and then it finally just jumped off the rocker head there. That's what I'm guessing, but it's hard to say. And get my flashlight so I can see down here. There it is right there. Yeah, see, the valves feel okay. Everything's pretty snug. I'm going to see if I can't rotate this around. Make sure everything's... Yeah, nothing's binding. They want the little move for the compression release. Alright, let's make sure it's at top dead center here. That's it right there. Alright, well, let's get these suckers adjusted. Get that snug. Should be about right there. Yeah, it's a little loose. Let's tighten up a little bit. A little more. Oh, that's a little better. I still think a little more. Oh. That's just about perfect. Alright, let's get this other one. Yeah, I got it. Good. Okay, now let's get this cover on. Alright, it's time to see if this sucker will crank. Let's see, he forgot his key, but luckily I do have an extra. I have a couple of old John Deeres out here. Let's see, so see where all this smoke is coming from. I would bet it's probably, yeah, it's on the muffler. As you can see all the, let me show you what I'm looking at. So you can see all the smoke. It's coming from the muffler where all the oil, I was trying to wipe some of this down, but all the oil that had just dripped down is coating the muffler and everything under here. So I guess I could power wash it off or see if I can just run it for a while and just go ahead and burn the rest of that off. But the engine sounds like it's running good. Just to make sure I might as well spray it down with some degreaser and all that good stuff. Hose it off and then we'll burn the remainder on because that is quite a bit on there. You can see all down in here and it was all over the top. I tried to get some of it off, but let me do that, and then we'll see how it's running after that. All right, I got it all cleaned off. I sprayed some degreaser and hosed it down. Let's see what it's doing. that looked like it did it. Just sitting here, I just got to pop the hood back on and it'll be finished. I just wanted to make sure I got all the oil off the muffler and all that stuff and clean, you know, stopped it from such heavy smoke pouring out. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't coming out of the muffler. If that was the case, then we had another problem. But I just want to make sure that was it. So yeah, so it was just oil that had dripped down onto the muffler. But that is it. So it was kind of an easy fix. I was thinking I was going to have to crack the engine open, you know, taking it off, cracking it open, and get it off of the out of the oil pan, you know, the sump pan. But in this case, I was able to just take the rods off without taking off the cylinder head, anything like that. Put it all, adjusted the valves, and it looks like it's running pretty good. He's probably not going to pick it up for another couple of days, or yeah, probably a couple of days. So I'll give it another test run, and I might even just double check the valve clearances again before I hand it over to him. Make sure they haven't loosened up, moved around, anything like that. But that was it. So once again, thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe and watch for my next video. Come here.
You sure? You sure?